Dear students, in the last class we have seen all the things related to motherboard, and in that again we will continue with one more component, that is memory. And the memory is to store information or instructions maybe temporarily or permanently. Memory is to store information or instructions temporarily or permanently in the computer. And there are two types of memories. One is primary memory and another one is secondary memory. Primary memory and secondary memory. There are two types. Primary, secondary. Why the name primary? So the memory which comes first in the computer device is called as primary. And those primary memories are RAM and ROM. Random access memory, read-only memory. And the secondary memory, which is used to store the information permanently in the computer, maybe for future purpose. Primary memory is one thing. By that we can take the advantage of working with the computer. To work with the computer we need primary memory. To activate the computer we need primary memory. And to activate the computer, in the sense, in the last class we have seen there will be BIOS to start up the computer, and for that purpose we need ROM, read-only memory. And the primary memory, as I said, another one is RAM. RAM is to work with the computer. That means the informations are stored temporarily in the computer in RAM. Without RAM, working with the computer is not possible. When we are working in the computer, that is in the RAM, not on the keyboard or monitor. When you switch on a computer, in the RAM, operating system is loaded, and afterwards the operating system guides the user to work with the computer. So RAM is essential part. Maybe for example you are working on some applications on the computer. Maybe if you are making typing practice, games, all those things you are working in RAM. Okay, that is the use of RAM. RAM is needed to work with the computer. Next we will continue with RAM. As I said, RAM is random access memory. And in RAM, there are two types, static RAM and dynamic RAM. Static RAM and dynamic RAM. Static RAM is completely temporary type of memory, and dynamic is also a temporary memory, but it holds the instruction or information little bit more time. That's the difference between static and dynamic RAM. And the static RAM is faster compared to dynamic RAM. So the static RAM is commonly used to prepare cache memories. That means in computer the cache memory is, even some people will pronounce it as a cache memory, and this cache memory is prepared by using static RAM. What is the use of this cache memory? In computer, some devices will work faster and some devices work in slower. And whatever device works in a slower way, for those computer, this cache memory will give help, okay, or support. By that, it works or it combines the speed of higher speed devices. By that, maybe for example, if the processor and the RAM is interacting, processor and hard disk is interacting, RAM and hard disk is interacting, then RAM is faster, hard disk is slower. The cache memory or cache memory will give the support to hard disk. By that, hard disk will work or hard disk combines the speed of another faster device or maybe processor or maybe the RAM. Okay, that type of concept we'll call it as a cache memory. Cache memory is for that purpose. Again, they are classified as SDRAM and DDR-RAM. SDRAM stands for Synchronous Dynamic RAM. Synchronous Dynamic RAM. Okay, in dynamic RAM, first one, second one. So SDRAM, Synchronous Dynamic RAM, and DDR is Double Data Rate RAM. Double Data Rate RAM. SDRAM is synchronous. That means for the processor clock or with the processor clock it works, and the SDRAM is slower, and DDR-RAM is compared to SDRAM is faster. That means it doubles the speed of SDRAM. Compared to SDRAM, DDR-RAM is faster. And presently nowadays commonly we will use DDR-RAM, Double Data Rate RAM. ROM stands for Read-Only Memory. Okay, ROM stands for Read-Only Memory, and whatever information we are storing, that will be stored permanently in the read-only memory. So the name read-only. We can write on this memory and we can read many number of times. In ROM there are different types. Pure read-only memory, that means it is purely permanent memory. Once if you are writing, again erasing is not possible. That type of ROM. EEPROM, electronically programmable read-only memory. We can program that ROM in the beginning once, and again erasing is not possible. That type of ROM. Electronically erasable programmable read-only memory. That means by using some circuits, you can erase the information in the read-only memory and once again you can write. That type of ROM. So in this way, there are different types in the read-only memory. And there will be a difference between RAM and ROM. RAM stands for Random Access Memory, ROM stands for Read-Only Memory. And RAM is called Volatile Memory, ROM is called Non-Volatile Memory. Volatile means not a permanent thing, temporary. And non-volatile means permanent memory. And RAM requires flow of electricity to retain the data. When you switch on a computer, the RAM will be initiated. If you switch off, everything in RAM will be erased. And once again if you switch on, again it initiates with the operating system. That means this operating system will be in the RAM. So that's why it is called working area of a user. Why they made it? Every time purchasing new RAM is not possible to work with the computer. When you initiate, that means when you switch on a computer, the RAM will be a new area, and in that new area any user can work. That means any new user can take the advantage of computer since the RAM is temporary. Otherwise, working with the computer is not possible if the RAM is made it as a permanent. So they made RAM as a temporary memory area, by that anybody can make use of RAM anytime or computer anytime. Next we will see secondary memory. Secondary memory, as you know, to store any information permanently we need secondary memory, and it is with larger capacity. Means you can store information in gigabyte and terabyte in the secondary memory. Cache memory or cache memory is one important device, as I said earlier, and in the cache memory the size may be 256 kilobyte to maybe 2 MB or 4 MB, not more than that. Okay, cache memory will be in less size compared to other storage devices. Okay, and as I said, it helps the slower device to work in a faster way. That's the use of cache memory. There will be three types of cache memory or cache memory: level 1, L1, L2 and L3. L1, L2 and L3 cache memories. L1 is helpful for the CPU. That means with the CPU, in CPU there will be L1 cache memory along with the CPU memory. CPU memory is called registers. Along with the CPU memory there will be L1 cache memory or cache memory. It will help the CPU for the working. Okay, and the size of it may be 32 kilobyte to 512 kilobyte. 32 kilobyte to 512 kilobyte. And L2 is helpful for external devices other than the CPU or processor. Maybe for example, there may be memory or RAM, and maybe RAM want to interact with the CPU. Then L2 cache memory will help the RAM to interact with the CPU. That since CPU is faster compared to RAM, and this L2 memory will give the help to interact with the CPU. So then CPU and RAM can interact in a better way. So L2 cache memory will give the help to memory. So that's why we will say L2 cache memory is placed outside the processor. This L3 cache memory is another cache memory or cache memory. It helps to improve the performance of L1 and L2. Even it is placed outside the CPU. There may be L3. Outside the CPU there will be L3. And it helps even for the L1 and L2 for the working. Next is SMPS. SMPS is switch mode power supply. Why it is called switch mode power supply? When you switch on a computer, then it will activate the SMPS, and SMPS is just like one type of regulator or transformer which converts AC into DC. alternative current into direct current. Why that thing is necessary? In computer or in the motherboard, some devices will take minimum power, maybe 5 volt, 12 volt, 24 volt, like that way. And this SMPS is to split the AC power, that is 230 volt, okay, and that AC power into DC, alternative current that comes from the KEB or electricity power grid, and it converts that main electricity which is in our switchboard into DC, direct current. That is the use of SMPS, switch mode power supply. When you switch on a computer, that will be started. Okay. UPS, uninterrupted power supply. UPS stands for uninterrupted power supply. And the use of UPS is, maybe you will try to make use of your computer, and while using computer we need power, and when you connect, if you connect this computer directly to your switchboard, what happens? If the power goes off, electricity power goes off, automatically it will switch off the computer. And once again, if you restart the computer, there may be malfunction, since the operating system is not closed in a proper way by taking shutdown and all. Then it will do some malfunction. To avoid that thing, we will take the UPS, uninterrupted power supply. And this uninterrupted power supply is nothing but just like inverter. In house we will take, or we will use inverters. Same way for the computer we will say UPS, uninterrupted power supply. And UPS is of two types, online UPS and offline UPS. Online UPS and offline UPS. What is the meaning of, what is the use of this online and offline? Online means the UPS is connected to electricity power, and UPS charges the power, or it charges the battery to use it for the computer, and the computer always works on the battery, not on the power, electricity power. That means it will not bother about the electricity power. Even though the current is on or off, always it will use uninterrupted power supply. And that type of UPS we will call it as a online UPS. That means always it works on the battery. It will not bother about electricity power. But when the electricity power is there, online UPS will charge the battery. Okay, it will do that work. That is one side process. In the back end or in the back side, it will do that process. But on the front side, always it will keep the computer on. So in the banking sector, they have to keep the computer always on. Okay, maybe in the reservations, they will use, or maybe in the bigger companies, they will use online UPS. Offline UPS. Offline UPS means, even in the same way, just like in the online, even it is connected to power, electricity power, but the difference is, offline UPS, when the power is there, it will work on the power, and if the power is not there, then only it works on the battery. That means internally there will be switching technique, that we will call it as a relay. There will be internally one switch called relay. It switches, if the power comes, that will be in this way. This may be the power connection, this may be battery connection. If the power comes, it goes in this way, it switches in this direction. If there is no power, it switches in this direction. Okay, and that type of thing we will call it as an offline UPS. That means it works on the power if there is a power. If there is no power, it works on the battery. Thank you, students. So this is the end of first chapter. So I will give some questions, and after this one there may be test. Please be prepared. Thank you.